You do. Hello, my name is Frau Kamut. I'm the program manager of the SME growth program in Romania, a program that is financed under the EEA and Norway grants. These is a funding scheme that is contributing to reducing the economic and social disparities across Europe in the European Economic Area. And our program in Romania targets to increase value creation and sustainable growth in the Romanian business sector. And in addition, we have an important goal with this funding scheme, namely we want to strengthen relations between Iceland, Liechtenstein and Norway on the one hand, who are the donor countries to this funding scheme, and with partners with businesses from Romania on the other hand. This is an explicit important goal. Under this SME growth program in Romania, we have now only 2 calls left. One that we are talking about today or learning a little bit more about today, the startup call, the relaunch of our startup call, which has a deadline in July. And then we will also have a soft measures call where you can have financed measures to develop your business in Romania, but also then in connection with bilateral activities with partners from Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein. This one will follow in a couple of weeks. Today's event has a twofold purpose. That means that we want you to learn a little bit more about the startup call, those of you who will be preparing applications or participating as partners. But we also want to provide a platform for finding partners if you haven't found anyone yet, both from Romania maybe, but also especially from Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. And to that, you have registered in a platform called B2Match, and there you have a profile. And you also have a dashboard where you can administer your meetings and book meetings still today. Still now, you can book meetings or check whether maybe someone has requested a meeting with you, and then this platform will provide for you the framework both for scheduling these meetings, but also for doing these meetings, making video sessions, video calls. So you see our participants, we have a slight overweight of Romanian participants here today. So Icelandic and Norwegian entities, be ready for the big wave of meeting requests. And let's hope you find some. And even people registering later today can still book meetings online independently from this live session here now. You also have on your dashboard a little menu item where you can browse participants, either by organization or by person. You will also get recommendations who may be relevant meeting partners for you. So you then click on request meeting and you will then easily can be able to request a meeting, schedule a meeting with potential partners. If you have found a partner and a potential project partnership that you would like to explore a little bit more in depth, you can also apply for travel grants under our program. And we will then, this is a tiny application that will be processed relatively quickly. You can get a lump sum of up to 1,200 euros. And then you can travel to meet in person the potential partner and develop further the project idea, check whether you have really the common understanding of your project idea. But a precondition for granting this travel application would be that you have to give us your project idea, an outline, and it must be in principle eligible. and also that you as an applicant should be an eligible applicant entity or a partner. You will learn a little bit more about that when we get the presentation on the startup call. So such a travel grant application must be related to the startup call that we are presenting now. Right, and then if you have any questions, you can already write us in the chat right now, or write us later at our Row Innovation support desk. And you can also visit our Facebook page, LinkedIn page that you find if you Google Innovation Norway Romania. The main communication channel is the one in red on this program, innovationsnorge.no, Startup Romania. Thank you so much and good luck with your project ideas.
I guess it's my turn. Hello. I hope you can see the presentation. Good. My name is Mihai Stefanescu. I will be sharing my presentation on the second call for proposal related to startups, and together with my colleague Mihaela. The presentation is divided in two sections. First section is I hope it's not okay. Yeah. So the first section is related to the startup call, and it includes items like what is the main objective of the call, what are the focus areas, target groups, what type of eligible expenses and selection criteria are we going to apply to this call, necessary documents, an administrative checklist, and an important element is the detailed budget and the guidelines. The call framework and the main objective. The main objective is to use this call to increase the competitiveness and the business growth of the startup environment in Romania. The purpose is to use this call to apply with the project in the sense that it will target increasing revenue and also it will target increasing profits. As it was mentioned, the call text is divided into specific focus areas, namely 3 focus areas. Each focus area is using specific activities that you need to filter out and use them to understand if your project idea is a eligible one. First area that we are going to present is the green industry innovation area. This focus area is targeting investment and development of green products or investment into friendly technologies. Also, you may look at green production processes in the sense that you can green your production. What's important, very important detail, when you design your project, it's important to think one specific area in particular. Since the call is restricted and you cannot apply with many projects, but only one. And it's very important to think what is your business need and how this call for proposal can help your business. Okay, going back to our focus areas. The second focus area is connected to information and communication technology. This area has in view the development of ICT product or processes or solutions. We learned from the first call that there is a good interest in this area when it comes to development of products or solutions that involve information communication technologies. Also, you may think of this area of the ICT area as a business where you would like to use the existing ICT components on the market and then further develop your business, focusing and using such tools from the market. The last focus area that we had in view is the blue growth area. Um, Here we can apply a definition that also is used at the level of European Union and is in the sense that businesses that are having carrying out economic activities within let's say Black Sea and in inner waters and use the respective resources to develop their business, that is a business that is eligible under this focus area. And here the eligible activities, as in sense of resource, are the coastal and maritime tourism resources. We have the blue biotechnology resources. Here we are talking about development and investment into blue biotechnology resources. We also have the development and investment in the seabed mining resources. One particular subject in connection also with the Green Deal is the development of innovative solutions related to marine litter and the waste, and also development of innovative solutions and technologies related to water supply. Here we are talking also how to use the water and include desalination of the water. Okay. Moving on, the target group of this call is are the micro and small enterprises that are now existing in Romania. At the last date of the call, they must have been established and registered with at least 6 months and maximum 4 years of operation at the date of the deadline of the call, which is 14th of July. They must be operating, as it was mentioned, in one of the three focus areas. Uh, What's important is that it should be an unlisted small enterprise following the registration, and also important that have not yet distributed process and are not formed through merger. These details are present in the current call for proposal. Okay, the partners, eligible donor partners. Here we're discussing from partners from Iceland, Liechtenstein, or Norway. We are also talking about eligible national partners from Romania. And the important aspect related to the partner is that it can be any private or public entity, commercial or non-commercial organization registered. This is very important in Romania or in one of the previously mentioned donor states. Okay, partnerships. Um, on the event website, what's important is that we have included links that will help you search for partners in Norway and also in Iceland. A very good tool is also the Explorer, which is a tool that aims at promoting Norwegian companies that would like to get international. Another important tool is the one from the government of Iceland, which is also used and has been used in the since the start of EA grants and Norway grants. There you will find a good list of companies and also NGOs that are active and registered in Iceland. And it's very easy to access and get knowledge to it. Today, you also have the chance to perform the digital matchmaking, as it was mentioned by my colleague Frauke. Also, on our website, you have other databases that could be used as partner search. Another important element is that when you find a partner, use our partnership template to first draft a potential cooperation that will help you submit a project. This draft will be then completed once you are among the shortlisted applicants. When it comes to the partner, what we have encountered in the past in our experience is that a partner should really reply to your business need. It's very important to look at that in the sense that both companies, both entities could benefit of the project. Since choosing a partner that can provide you with a simple service that can be offered by any other companies in the market, that will not qualify as a partner. And your effort to find a partner and conclude a partnership will not be scored with what is now listed in the criteria and the methodology. Hence, focus on your business need and try to match your business need with what the activity of the partner, and how it can be tailored and they be a good match for you and the partner. And also think of the future that it could be a possible entry point for later on in the Nordic market. Funding, as it was mentioned, the current call for proposal has 3.5 million euros. The previous call had 1 million, uh, and we expect now to uh, have the same level of interest as we did in the first call. The grant rate, we used GBER. It's a regulation that is being used at the level of European Union, and it consists in a series of articles that you will see there. From that regulation, you will see that we use solely Article 22, and from the Article 22, we are focusing on specific elements from that article. In case you read it, there is no need to focus on everything that is listed there, but solely on the part that is related to the startups. And that means that we award 85% grant, meaning that you need to come up with 50% co-financing, as in the form of own resources or a bank loan. And a second article that we use, and this is specific for the partner contribution, we are able to provide maximum 60% for a project partner. Here we are discussing of research and development projects, and this is very important to understand if you would like to have research and development within your project, which is a good way of developing further your business. It's very important to understand that we will use the experimental development from the said article, and your pilot should start at technology readiness level 5, and the aim would be to go to technology readiness level 8. Okay, I think this is it for the funding part. Let's go to the type of eligible expenses. In the call text, you will see that there are a series of eligible expenses. Among those that we can say that are pretty important are the one that is staff assigned to the project. Here you should focus on staff that is within your company. Try to use an hourly rate that is a practicable hourly rate for the company and can be justified when we ask for clarifications, in the sense that you can have a match in the company, not to use the project as a way of boosting your income or using the hourly rate. This means that it should be actual salaries plus social security charges and other statutory costs included in the remuneration. Then we have travel and subsistence allowances that is present in the, as an eligible cost. The purchase of new equipment, which is very important for you. Cost of consumables and supplies, which is also another element. And under the consultancy services, here you should also focus on the fact that as a startup, you need, let's say, mentoring services and mentoring services that will help you grow and see how you can go with your project further on. The indirect cost, as it is mentioned there, is 15% flat rate or cost being directly attributed to the project. Okay. Um, see, yeah, this is pretty much is on this one. I think what's important is that under the eligible expenses in the call text, each of the lines that I mentioned and you see it there are further developed. And you need to read them carefully before you start compiling your budget. Okay, the selection criteria and deadlines. We do have three stages. We have the administrative and eligibility stage. We have the technical and financial selection criteria. From the previous call, there is a difference. We are going to use a more compressed administrative and eligibility, including technical and financial criteria. Okay. The shortlisted applicants, which is the last stage, are going to be invited for an interview. This interview will consist in a pitch that will help us understand your project further. Right. Submitting the project applications by 14th of July. From experience, if you submit it by 14th of July, you will fail. Sorry to say it. But if you wait until 14th of July, there are good chances that you will not be able to submit it in time. So the advice is the call is open, the application process is open. Use the time now and try to also complete your project application, which is everything online, and do so until 14th of July. You can also save it. Okay. The completing of the project should be by 30th of April 2024. Also, when you think of starting the project, a good starting point should be September, when you plan the project implementation plan. So that'd be a good starting point for you to start to carry out activities. These are the documents and preparation mandatory documents. You see that on our website, we have shrinked the number of documents that you need to complete. The most important document is the application form because it will substitute the business plan as we are not using a business plan in this case. And this will help you a lot since in the application form you have all the instruction necessary for you to carry out the project. You will see that what's important here is that you start downloading these templates and simply take a short look at. I think the most important templates at the moment are the detail activity, base budget, and the expected outcomes. I would personally start with that and understand what is that it's important when it comes to outcomes and outputs. The second slide and these are the essential reading. Um, we have standard terms and conditions that apply to you. We have project assessment criteria and methodology. This is a updating document. As it was mentioned, we are trying to condense all the documents and make it a more easy to either read and easy to evaluate. You can also, we have guidelines on cross-cutting issues that are related to your company business and how it operates in Romania. Top common mistakes. You can start with this document and try to open it and understand what is it about. Also, under the frequently asked questions, you will see that there are many of the questions that you have on top of your mind without reading the application or the project or the call text. They are covered in the frequently asked questions. Then we have common communication guidelines. An important aspect is the guidelines for the detailed activity-based budget and financial forecast, which is going to be presented by Mihaela later on. But here you can download it already, and it's a elaborate document and applies to many of your questions. Glossary of terms, these are just the definitions used so far. And the second or third important document is the application form guide to key information. This will explain our snip screens from the application form as such, and it explains exactly what's needed as mandatory information or minimum information in each of the application form. This is a snip of the how to use the application form, and here you'll see that we have the type of business, and these are some of the sections of the application form which is currently online. Okay. Uh, let's move on. The last slide is the administrative and checklist. Here are the main elements that you need to look. It's my entity registered and functioning. Here is the main applicant according to the law in Romania for commercial entities. When should my company be registered? Here are the details. What is the micro and small company? It's not for the medium companies, very important. Is it listed on the stock exchange? Another second important point is, has it distributed profit or is it formed through mergers? My company was economical active in 2021. Yes, one important other issue. And the owner of the company, a physical person, only one of the companies in which I have ownership as a physical person may apply. And now I'll invite to take control my colleague to move on with the detailed activity-based budget.
Thank you, Mihai. Hello, everybody. My name is Mihaela Piroi, and I work as a financial program officer within the Innovation Norway, the Bucharest office. Our event will continue now with the presentation of the detailed activity budget, one of the most important attachment to your application forms, as also mentioned by Mihai. So the DAB, this is how we call it, it's practically an Excel file which has several sheets. And the document has three main purposes. On one hand, is for us to verify the eligibility of expenditure that you have included. The second purpose is to assess your financial capacity, and the last one is to check the profitability of your project. The first sheet from the Excel file is called detailed budget, and here you are supposed to enter the expenses connected to the activities you have foreseen within your project. You will see that you are requested to insert a few information about your project, such as the program area, the name of the project promoter and of the project partners, if any. On the project number, you will have to leave it unfilled. This will be filled further on when you will receive your project code. And then in the Excel, in the table below, you should include information about the expenditures connected to the activities of the project. Please fill in only the cells marked in yellow. The ones on the white background will be calculated automatically. Include only eligible amounts. When it comes to eligibility of expenditure, one important thing to mention is the eligibility of VIT. So VIT is eligible as long as you do not recover it according to the national legislation. So in case you do not recover VAT, you can include it here. If you recover it, then the expenses are to be without VAT. List each type of expense, and then from the drop-down menu, select the organization which is responsible for the expense, either the project promoter, which you will find it under the abbreviation PP, or the project partner, if you have a project partner, and you will have as option P1, which is project partner 1, P2, and so on, in case you have more partners. After you fill in the table, you will see that it will automatically calculate the total cost and the grant, as well as the grant rate and your contribution. One important thing to mention here, please pay attention that your project budget is within the maximum and minimum amount stipulated in the call text. Also make sure that you respect the grant rate. For example, here under this example, the grant rate is higher than 200,000 euro, which is not in line with the call text where the maximum grant amount is 200,000. So you will get here an error. Okay, moving on to the next slide. But I'm not sure whether you can see it.
Does it work?
No,
Okay,
it seems it's not working.
Okay, I'll move it. Let's see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is the next Excel sheet. It's about the historical data, and the purpose of these two sheets, one is balance sheet historical data and the other one is profit and loss, is for us to assess the financial capacity of the applicant. So what you need to do here is insert data from the annual balance sheet that you have submitted to the fiscal authorities. Figures need to be in euro. You will have instructions in the document regarding the exchange rate you need to use. In the guideline for the detailed activity budget, there is also a table ensuring the correspondence between the way we request information here and how you find the information in the annual balance sheet. So all you need to do here is take information from the annual balance sheet and insert it in the table. Make sure that the total assets equal total shareholders and liabilities. If that does not happen, then you'll have an error on the bottom of the table showing that there's a difference between them. What else? On the next slide, on the right hand, which is the next sheet, it's the profit and loss. The same principle, take the information from the annual balance sheet and include it in the Excel. According to the call text, you are requested to submit financial data for the last 3 fiscal years, so from 2019 up to 2021. Of course, this requirement needs to be correlated with the date of establishment of your company. So if you have available data just for 1 year, insert it for 1 year. On the profit and loss, there's also a section, the one on the right, which is a forecast regarding the evolution of the profit and loss after you implement the project. So you would need to make forecasts regarding the evolution of the revenues and expenses and of the profit during the implementation of the project and 5 years after the implementation. We can move forward. Mihai, thank you. Okay, so we are now reaching the next sheet, which is called Project Cost and Revenues. And the purpose of this sheet is for us to assess the profitability of your project. Under these tables, you will have to estimate the revenues that are going to be generated by the project and the cost associated with the implementation of the project. You will see that you'll need to insert the revenues per type of product or service that is going to be developed following the implementation of the project. You need to include the number of units and the unitary price. And then under the project cost, it's divided between material costs or administrative costs associated with staff. Or there's also a section for other costs if you do not find any line above that matches the cost you associated with your project. If you plan on buying assets, there's also a table where you need to insert information about the depreciation and amortization, which you will need to calculate in accordance with the national legislation. Of course, the analysis is done for 5 + 1 years, and the rest is considered as a residual value. Next. So we're reaching the last sheet, which is called Project and Company Cash Flow. This is a table that gets most of its information from the tables filled in previously. So what you need to do is only fill in information in the gray cells. The cells on white and yellow on and blue, sorry, they are either calculated automatically or are taken over from the other sheets. This table is very much related to the section of the profit and loss where we made the estimation regarding the evolution of the company following the implementation of the project. So what we want to see here is how the revenue that you estimate that's going to be generated at company level is divided between the revenues generated by the projects and the revenues which are generated by the business operating as usual without the project. The division is done at the level of revenues, but also at the level of costs. And on the top, you will have some verification keys. And in case figures are not correct, then you will have a red cell. And the verification takes into consideration the correlation with this profit and loss forecast that was inserted previously. This is the last sheet of the budget, and that would be all from my side. Of course, happy to take any questions you may have.
I think there is a question related to economic activity. I think I noted that. What economically active means?
It means that you have some sort of activity for the company. I mean, you have generated some revenues or you have some costs associated with the operation of the company. I mean, in the balance sheet, you should have some figures reported to the fiscal authority.
Okay. I also see that there is a question related to, could you please elaborate on the ownership structure? Our company in Romania is 100% owned by the holding company in Estonia. The ultimate beneficiary is a physical person, though. The question here is if, from a state point of view, you become a medium company if you're owned by a holding company. Hence, you are no longer associated as a startup, but since your company is owned by a large company, then you're going to be assessed as a medium or actually as a large company, being part of a holding. I think it was a question from Christian Pasha. Can you elaborate more on how do you evaluate a partnership? This question is really, really good. The way of elaborating a partnership is the way, does it reply to your business need? Do activities that are listed in the partnership make sense for your business? In the sense that my intention is to develop a certain product, and I do not have the required expertise in order to cover this, let's say, section of IE or machine learning. But I do find a Norwegian company that is expert in AI and machine learning, artificial intelligence or machine learning, and it is indeed going to help me. And if they accept, then such type of partnership and activity could be listed as a partner. I hope I replied to Ms. Christina. Okay. I think people are still joining. Okay. Should we have more questions? see here. Okay. I think what was interesting in the previous application process was the fact that uh, the instructions that are currently present in the application form in the portal is that some of the instructions there are going to lead you to a gross or to a general type of application process. What's important to note is that the application form is designed to help you and it's designed for several countries. So you'll see there you have a selection of other countries and it's important to select Romania and then look at our guidelines on the application form and how to write the application and what's needed to justify the activities. That was a question from that we encountered in the last selection process. Also, I think it was okay. Let's see what question. How will the evaluation criteria and grid differ from the previous call? The most important element to note is the fact that we have condensed some of the selection criteria in the technical and financial part in the way that the financials are on one criteria and the technicals are spread out through a series of criteria. So this is going to be the major component that is different. Okay. Under intangible assets, are franchise cost eligible? Mihaela, do you know how to reply to this one?
I think the question relates whether they are considered as eligible expenditure, not that they are to be included or not in the balance sheet. If you have it in the balance sheet, if franchise costs are included other intangible assets in the balance sheet. And I think maybe the question relates to the fact if this is considered as an eligible cost for us as a program.
Mm-hmm. I think what we encountered in the past is that franchise, or I think it was leasing, which was not. If it is leasing with the intent to own the equipment at the end, then that could be considered as an eligible cost. But this was in the past programs. But the franchise as such does not allow you to own the equipment. And I'm not sure if this will qualify as an eligible expense. So another question is definitely no business plan, or is it nice to have? The reply here is definitely no business plan. What you need to focus, and I think the biggest challenge is to focus your project idea in the application form. You will see that the application form has predefined fields and it gives you a certain limit in the sense that you need to explain precisely what you plan to do. There is no need to use a 50 pages business plan in order to explain a business idea. Okay. What will be, maybe it will help you in case you get shortlisted. Maybe it will help you under the pitching session. Yeah, maybe this would be a complete. Okay. I think Ms. Kaloyanu is asking, it's not leasing, it is the franchise cost if we want to buy a franchise. Yeah. If it's something that I'm not sure how can be assessed as an eligible cost and what will be a startup business in this respect.
Maybe if she could come up per email with more details and we'll have an answer afterwards.
Okay. Mr. Radu Morginan is asking if it is going to be a third call for startup in Romania. The reply is no. However, you should also, I point out to the fact that we are going to launch a soft measures call, which is important to understand that it will cover, Mr. Morginan, it will cover the organizational soft measures like training, seminars that are intended to help your employees and grow your business in a way. So maybe there you will possibly, if it is there, that you can take a look and see if you're eligible there. Okay. Mr. Doru Maikan. The partner in the donor states could contribute with knowledge and technology to the development of the solution based on a contract, not a service contract, and with not subject to state aid. Would this be considered partnership project with donor? Depending on the type of activities that you are going to perform and what is listed in the partnership agreement. If it will be, of course, assessed at the level at the moment when the application is submitted. Um, in case it's going to be a contract and the partner will invoice you, let's say 100%, then you as an applicant need to cover the co-financing costs. So you need to take into account this aspect. Also, please note that the weight of the partnership to be shared, it's important to understand what type of research and development is going to be developed, and if you can support the 40% co-financing rate. I hope this has replied enough. If not, you can always write to us. Okay. Mr. Sorin, how should be legally figure the partnership on a project where two entities will take part in? Uh, so the partnership, in case this is the question, if I understood it correctly, the applicant needs to be is the one that needs to fulfill the eligibility criteria. The partner is any type of entity, commercial or non-commercial. So the main applicant needs to be the one that is eligible from the and fulfills the criteria that we have on the call. How are the applications rated in order to classify them, and what are the tie-breaking criteria? You will see that each criteria, the administrative and checklist is rated depending on a yes or no. And the technical and financial criteria are listed on from 0 to 6, and it's going to be also use the weighted average that is listed there. And then based on the weighted average, we are going to have a ranking list. The tie break is going to be given by the 3.5 million that we have awarded as a budget for this entire call. Okay. We founded our startup in January. In July, we will be eligible for applying, passing the 6-month criteria, but we are still setting up and we have not financial activity. Do we qualify as active? I'm glad that you have founded your startup in January, and I'm also glad that you have reached our funding information session. I think Mihaela already mentioned that it's important as a financial activity to have in your balance sheet some sort of activity that will show that you did start it and have performed an economic activity at the deadline of the call. Okay. I think it's from Doru Maikan again. Does the previous scenario qualify for startup aid, or if the donor state provides technology, is that considered an R&D cost? I think the technology provided, donor states do not need to provide technology. That will be subject for procurement. In order to qualify as research and development, here we are discussing about sharing knowledge and developing a project, and not purchasing technology, which is equipment. Okay. I don't fully understand. Does the previous scenario qualify for startup aid? But Mr. Maikan, if you would like, since we are short on time, you can write to us further with your elaborate questions, and we will be happy to reply over email. Okay. Right. Should we conclude this session? I'm asking Mihaela if we don't have any other questions, but I think.
And of course, questions are always welcome. We are pretty active on the help desk. Do not hesitate to write to us.
Yeah. Also, I think we plan to post online the session. I think we have a active YouTube channel. Last question from Anna Paraskiv. The outcome indicators are evaluated on 3rd years after implementation?
Not necessarily. I mean, this is a special case. We look at the last year we look at the indicators is 2024. Because it's also the last year that we report further on to the FMO, which is the authority supervising the implementation of the programs.
Yes.
We might ask you, you will not be obliged to report, but we might ask you still in 3 years, but that will then be completely voluntary to answer.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. This has been a good session. I hope that we'll have, I hope we have interest and we have opened and it was pretty clear for you. Wish you good luck with the application and use the travel form now that is, let's say, the pandemic is at least a bit over. Reach out, get international, and find a partner. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day, everybody.
Good luck, everybody, with the application. Thanks for attending.